The room went silent the moment the words were spoken. In the face of death, he stayed calm. A man stood near the glass wall of the high-rise office, his hands raised slowly, not in surrender, but in control. In front of him, a masked intruder held a knife inches from a young woman's throat. She was shaking, barely able to stand. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city buzzed as if nothing unusual was happening, unaware that one wrong move inside could end a life. The man's name was Daniel Carter. A single father, not a bodyguard, not a hero by profession. Just a man who had learned how to stay steady when everything inside screamed to panic. The woman being threatened was Emily, the personal assistant to the CEO of one of the largest tech companies in the city. And watching this unfold from a few feet away was Richard Hale himself, the CEO, a man used to power, commands, and instant obedience. Yet in this moment, he felt utterly helpless. "Don't move," the intruder snarled. "Say one word, and she dies." Emily let out a sob. Richard opened his mouth, but Daniel spoke first, his voice low and even. "Take a breath," Daniel said, calmly. "You're shaking. That makes accidents happen." The intruder hesitated. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. Not afraid, not shouting, not begging. Richard stared at Daniel in disbelief. Who was this man? Just minutes earlier, Daniel had been sitting quietly in the waiting area, clutching a worn folder filled with papers. He was there for a job interview, nothing glamorous. A maintenance supervisor role, stable hours, health insurance, something reliable for his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, who waited for him every night at home with homework spread across the kitchen table. Daniel had survived chaos before. 2 years ago, he had lost his wife in a late-night car accident. One moment, a normal phone call. The next, a police officer at his door. That night, holding Lily as she cried herself to sleep, something inside him hardened, not into coldness, but into resolve. He had learned that panic never saved anyone. Calm did. Back in the office, the intruder tightened his grip. "I said don't move." Daniel nodded slightly. "I hear you. I'm not moving toward you. I'm moving away from danger." Slowly, deliberately, he shifted one step to the side, positioning himself between the intruder and the exit, but far enough not to be seen as a threat. "You don't want to kill her," Daniel continued. "If you did, it would already be done. You're here for something else." The knife trembled. Richard felt his heart pounding. He had negotiated billion-dollar deals, crushed competitors, laid off thousands without losing sleep, but this moment terrified him. And yet, this stranger was controlling it with nothing but words. "What do you know?" the intruder snapped. "I know fear," Daniel replied. "And I know desperation. They make people loud. You're quiet. That means you're thinking." Emily's eyes flicked toward Daniel, a fragile hope breaking through her terror. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance. Security had been alerted, but they were still minutes away. Minutes that felt like hours. Daniel slowly lowered his hands, keeping his movements visible. "You're not trapped," he said. "There's a way out where no one gets hurt. Including you." The intruder swallowed hard. His breathing grew ragged. Richard watched as the power in the room shifted. The knife no longer looked like a weapon. It looked like a burden. "Put it down," Daniel said softly. "Not for them, for yourself." For a long moment, no one moved. Then the knife clattered to the floor. Emily collapsed into tears as Daniel stepped forward, gently guiding her away. Security burst in seconds later, tackling the intruder to the ground. The crisis was over. But for Richard Hale, something else had just begun. Later, in his private office, Richard poured 2 glasses of water with hands that still weren't steady. Daniel stood across from him, jacket draped over his arm, looking embarrassed by the attention. "You saved her life," Richard said. Daniel shook his head. "I just kept things from getting worse." Richard studied him. "You're not trained security." "No," Daniel said. "I'm a dad." That answer hit harder than any hero speech ever could. Richard had everything: money, influence, prestige. But he had no children, no family, and no memory of the last time he'd done something purely out of instinct to protect another human being. "I read your application," Richard said quietly. Maintenance supervisor. Daniel nodded. I need steady work. My daughter comes first. Richard leaned back, deeply shaken, not by the danger earlier, but by the realization that true strength didn't come from titles or authority. It came from responsibility, from love. You're hired, Richard said. But not for maintenance. Daniel frowned. Sir, I want you as head of internal safety training, Richard continued. You understand people under pressure better than anyone I've seen. And I want you paid accordingly. Daniel's eyes widened. I don't. You do, Richard interrupted. Because today, you reminded me what leadership actually looks like. That night, Daniel walked through his front door to Lily running into his arms. Did you get the job, Daddy? He smiled, holding her tight. Yeah, sweetheart, I did. And miles away, in a quiet office overlooking the city, a powerful CEO stared out the window, forever changed, not by fear, but by the calm courage of a single father who stood steady in the face of death.